Hey, what's going on, guys? OJ back here with another video, and today we're going to be talking about UFC blobs outside of the heavyweight division. And when I talk about certain fighters being blobs, all right, they don't necessarily have to be fat, right? As you'll see in this video, some of these fighters, they look pretty athletically fit, but I'm going to be breaking down why I think they have some fat behaviors in them because spoiler alert, this has mostly to do with missing weight. And I'm going to be breaking down a couple of fighters outside of the heavyweight division that have some blob tendencies. So, without wasting any more time, let's jump right into the video. All right, starting off with the inspiration to this video, Calvin Gastelum. I mean, what do I say about him? He's built like a mini fridge and he's just missed weight again for his upcoming fight with Dustin Stoltzfus by 6 pounds. All right, this marks the fifth time Calvin Gastelum has missed weight in the UFC. And like the fourth time he missed weight, I remember him making a mukbang vlog video about tacos and titled it with missing weight. If that don't scream blob to you, I don't know what will. The UFC will probably cut him and Brian Battle, who I'll talk about right after, they're probably gonna have a generational quadrilogy at the PFL because these guys are just decent level UFC middleweights who just repeatedly missed weight for one stupid reason or another. But yeah, Kelvin Gastelum, again, it's not just because he's built like a mini fridge. He just keeps missing weight and actively doesn't try to make weight in the first place. At one point, Calvin Gastelum was fit, but at this point, he is nothing but a blob outside of the heavyweight division. All right, now up next we got Brian Battle. All right, Brian Battle has missed weight in his last two fights. He missed weight at UFC 310 versus Randy Brown, and then he missed weight again at UFC 317 versus Nursultan Ruziboyev, even though Battle moved up to 185. Now he has been cut from the promotion and he is fighting in the PFL. Simply put, like there was a time when Brian Battle actually looked to be fit, actually looked to be a legitimate contender in the welterweight division, but unfortunately, he just cannot help not making weight. Right? This has been unfortunate for us Brian Battle fans. I used to love Brian Battle, right? I thought Brian Battle was cool when he had that whole press conference against Kevin Jousset. I was a huge fan. And even when he fought Randy Brown in a stinky performance, I was still a fan of Brian Battle because I thought, hey, he just needs to forget about this performance, forget about missing the weight, just do it next time. Unfortunately, he couldn't, and at this point, he's been cut as a result. And I'll be honest, I think it was justified. Although I still was a fan of Brian Battle, like again, you just can't be missing weight over and over again. Well, on the bright side, though, he might become the next PFL middleweight champion. Get the $1 million like tournament bonus or something like that. I think he'll have a much more successful career in the PFL than when he fought in the UFC. Hopefully, he just doesn't keep missing weight over and over again. All right, now up next we got Lucien Kita. All right, he was supposed to fight Patricio Pitbull at UFC Paris, but instead of making weight, he pleaded with Pitbull to take the fight, despite not even trying to cut the extra weight with 2.5 hours left. There is a video surfacing around Twitter and Instagram about Lucien Kita interacting with Pitbull, and to be fair to Pitbull, he declined because why would Pitbull take that fight? Pitbull should not be taking a fight where he's fighting someone who's 15 years younger and then give them a weight advantage on top of that. All right, that's the last thing Pitbull should do, and rightfully so. And Lucien Kita, for some reason, believes that he can make weight again. Like I'll be real, I don't believe it until I see it. So until he actually makes weight for 145 or moves up to the lightweight division and makes weight for 155, I'm just gonna keep calling him a fat blob because I just can't trust him to make 145 as of right now. All right, now up next we got Brian Ortega. Now, he has been a staple of the featherweight division, but at this point, why is he still at featherweight? All right. He has never shown up to a fight with a six pack. And I'm not one of those guys that are like, oh, you got to be this absolute athletic specimen in order to be a UFC fighter, let alone like a top five fringe contender. But can you be a little bit in shape and not come out here looking like a bag of milk, Brian Ortega? And it also doesn't help the fact that he just keeps on losing all of his fights, right? And he's always had an issue with cutting to 145. Half the time recently, he will probably fight at a catch weight bout of 155 pounds. And even then, it's a question as to whether or not he can make the weight, right? I will say this, though. He is not bitch made like Lucien Kita because Brian Ortega has been openly expressing his wants to go to the lightweight division and how it's too hard for him to cut to featherweight at this point. But for some reason, the UFC is still keeping him at featherweight. All right. I don't know why they're doing that. Maybe it's because the featherweight division has a lack of depth. I'm not entirely sure. But what I'm trying to say is Ryan Ortega, he's kind of a blob. He is shaped like a bag of milk, but unlike Lucien Kita, he will actually try to make weight before passing out because it's part of the Brian Ortega storyline here. So Brian Ortega is, I'm not gonna say he's as bad as Lucien Kita, but yeah, he's still a blob regardless. And last but not least, we're gonna be talking about Rafael Estevan. Rafael Estevan, most of you guys probably wouldn't know who he is, but if you do, uh, I guess you're a hardcore fan. But if you don't, Rafael Esteban, he's a flyweight fighter with 3 fights in the UFC, and he's like 14-0. There's a caveat to that though, because he missed weight for 2 of those fights by more than 3 pounds, at least. All right, he wins his fights by control grappling and holding people up against the cage, holding up against the canvas. And he has a strength advantage because he didn't have to cut weight like fully. I would not be surprised if he gets cut from the UFC soon. Like they cut Makayev for having boring fights, and I'm not thrilled to see Rafael Esteban fight. Again, Rafael Esteban, it's not just the fact that he just misses weight all the time. He uses that to his advantage with his fighting style by just wrestle fucking them on top. So yeah, I don't really want to see that, especially knowing that Rafael Esteban probably didn't make for that fight. So if he does that again, even if he wins, I can totally see the UFC going, yeah, either you move up to bantamweight or you get cut from the UFC. And I'm be real, I don't think he does well at bantamweight. I think there's like a little bit of a size discrepancy at bantamweight, and plus for the fact that bantamweights, they can wrestle, or at least most of them can. So I don't really believe that Rafael Esteban is going to do well when he has to go up to bantamweight inevitably. So he's probably going to get cut from the UFC and have to fight elsewhere like the PFL. Alright, that's going to be it for today's video. Leave a comment down below who I missed that could be potentially listed as a blob outside of the heavyweight division. Because realistically, most blobs are in the heavyweight division. And to name every single blob in the heavyweight division, it's just going to take me like 3 hours, which I don't have time for. But yeah, other than that though, if you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure to leave a comment, like, and subscribe so I can get this channel monetized. But other than that though, I will probably see you guys later. Peace.